What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to iStuff Gaming, and today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 beginner solo laners. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to have any opinions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. If you'd like to keep up with me, I do stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. CST, and I do have a personal Discord. I'll be putting all of that in the description below. Now, let's go ahead and get on to the video. Now, a lot of these beginner solo laners are going to be warriors. Generally speaking, when you think of a solo laner, you're going to get warriors. Sometimes you'll get some mages, sometimes you get some guardians. But in my opinion, a lot of the best solo laners for beginners come from the warrior class. Let's go ahead and get into number. So at number 5, we're going to be talking about Hercules. Hercules has a really straightforward kit, really good damage, good sustain. A lot of people who are starting out in the game will agree that Hercules was probably one of the banes of their existence. Does mad amounts of damage, great sustain. Does take a little bit of skill, which is why he's at number 5, mostly because of this pull. But you can get away with just hitting your stun into your pull, right? And then just popping your 3. Reason why he's at number 5 though is because other than support, he's just really lackluster. When that late game comes along, the ult is great, but he falls off pretty heavy. But he will give you an understanding how the solo lane is supposed to work. You know, boxing, clearing, when to fight, when not to fight. He will give you that general. So I definitely believe he is a great beginner character to start off with if you're trying to learn. At number 4, we're going to be talking about Chalk. Chalk is kind of in the same boat as Hercules. Reason being he's a little higher, though, is because his sustain is a little bit better. He has a silence that does good amounts of damage. His early game clear is great. His early game bully is great. He has a really good passive for solo lane. If you don't know what it does, basically after 5 successful basic attacks, your next ability costs no mana and it reduces his cooldown by 2 seconds, which is really, really strong for a solo laner, especially if you get your blue stolen. So you can actually manage without it. Reason why he's number 4, again, he's really lackluster when the late comes along. Really great early game pub stomper, really good at that mid game point. But later on, this silence and the knockup is really not going to be much because his damage falls off. Like his scaling is pretty meh, like only 70% of your physical skill. It does 3. So he's just okay overall. But again, he will give you an understanding of how the song. Let's go ahead and move on to. At number 3, we have Bologna. Now, Bologna is very top tier right now. Disarm. She is almost undefeated when it comes to auto attacks because she can stop you from auto attacking her back while having good sustain in her 3, great damage in her 2, cleave autos, block stacks, low, and then a stun that gives protections and power. That's really good. And then she actually gets protections and movement speed for every basic attack that she hits. So she can be really annoying to deal with. And again, she's great in the solo lane. And then if you want to try your hand at jungle, she's also pretty decent at jungle too. So Bologna has a lot going for her. The only reason why I have her at number 3 compared to everybody else, the top 2, is the ease of use. Now, while yes, she does have, all you really need to worry about is hitting autos, she doesn't have CC. At least no hard CC outside of her ult. So, when those team fights comes along, it can be a little bit weird of when to use your ult, when to drop your abilities, when to use your abilities. That can come with a little bit of a learning curve. But overall, she is pretty simple. I would definitely recommend using her if you're more into auto attacks. Like if you're used to playing carry more than you're playing mid, I would definitely recommend playing her. She bullies really early. In a lot of matchups she bullies really. She can steamroll really fast. Really strong Dane. So I believe she deserves to be at the number 3 spot for Let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we have Nike. Now, Nike is extremely easy. She has one of the best team passives in the game. Right? So, essentially, whenever you beat one of these goals, you get bonus percentage power and then bonus percentage boost, which is really, really good. Now, imagine, like, if you pair this passive with a Discordia passive, whoever gets that is going to be hitting massively harder and moving a lot faster. So she has a really strong. Her 1 can disarm. It also shreds protections. And it's your primary source of clear, so you're going to be leveling it first. So it also hits extremely hard. Her 2 absorbs projectile autos. Anybody who gets too close to you is pushed back. And then it does do a pretty decent amount of damage when you stop casting it. And then she has a really good leap, good engagement tool, and get out tool. And then this ultimate is a cop-out ultimate. Gives you a gigantic health shield depending on your maximum health. 40% slow, good amount of damage. You know? Can make it to where she can last even longer in a team fight or just be a general nuisance in team fights. So she's really powerful for that. Only bad things about her. All her cooldowns aren't really that long. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention her autos also cleave. She has cleave auto, so that's really good for clearing as well. So her biggest issue, honestly, really isn't 100% on her. She's vulnerable to executes. Not a lot of CC besides the knockup, which is still really good. If somebody builds Sundering Spear against you, your ult is virtually useless, so you would have to use it earlier into a team fight if you notice that they have Sundering Spear, so you'd probably like leap in and then ult, and then come out of ult with full health. You know, also that health shield from her ult does stack with Predwin, so that's also. Other weaknesses, while her rend is very powerful, it is 3 hitting, so you can interrupt it with like a stun or like a mesmerize or anything like that, or a root. Actually, no, a root can't interrupt it, but essentially she's just immune to knockback, so this is still really good, but it can be interrupted with certain matches. Let's go ahead and move on to number. At number 1, we're going to be talking about Sun Wukong. Now, Sun Wukong is the better version of Nike. Has this god tier solo lane passive. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know that I hate this character with a passion, mostly because of this passive. When you get beat up, you get protections and power, which is really good. As dumb clear in his 1, because his 1 will actually do 30% increased damage to minion waves and to jungle camp, so he'll clear very fast. He has this slow, which is an AoE around him, and it not only affects your movement speed, but it also affects your attack speed. That's really good. And then this 3. This is probably the hardest thing about this character. But the Eagle is one of the better run moves in the game because it's a move that slows and roots. The Tiger is a stun, which is his hardest hitting ability. Yes, it is his hardest hitting ability if you can hit it every single time. And then the Ox form. He's immune to slows, roots, and knockups, and he knocks up anything in his path, so it's really safe. So he has 2 really safe disengagements, and then 1 really powerful engagement tool. And then on top of that, he has this ultimate, which is CC immune. Right? And then he summons a clone, which will take tower shots for you if it goes into tower before you. It'll get all of your health, it'll get all of your protections, and then 50% of your basic attack power. And then he'll heal whenever he's inside of that ult. And then he can choose where he wants to land. And then his ultimate does do 500 damage plus 100% of your physical power. Right? So it's a really powerful ult. Only issues, late game, he's kind of meh. And I have to say kind of meh because he can still pump out really powerful damage. And then he has relatively low cooldown. Right? He has relatively low cooldown. Like his ult is on a 90-second cooldown at max rank. This is at 14 seconds at max. This is at 10 seconds, and this is at 12 seconds. So these are really so at 40%. You're more looking like this, like 6, 7, like 8 to 9. This is more like 10 to 11 and like 60. So he has relatively low cooldowns. Then he'll hit you harder the longer he's in a team. So Wukong is definitely the best solo laner to pick up for beginners because he does everything for you. He literally does everything for you. You can get away with a Bluestone Soul Eater Shifter Shield start, and they will not be able to kill you if you play smart. So I definitely think this is one of the better soul. So not best solo lanes, but best beginner solo lanes. Some honorable mentions to talk about on you. Heal, Protection Shred, and a slow, all really powerful. This ult hits really hard, and then he can reduce cooldowns. But again, he will take a little bit of finesse to get used, especially since he lacks so much. The Cullen is a really good beginner solo laner. The hardest thing about this character is managing his anger system, his rage system. And another good honorable mention, I had to say it, Chang'e. Healing, really low cooldowns, lots of safety, and then the ability to be able to send this little bugger here to go back and collect items for you. Chang'e's only weakness is that early she has no mana, so the fact that you have a mana buff to keep mana above threshold is really but those are all of my beginner solo laners that I feel like if you want to pick up solo lane, you should definitely check them out. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later.